Originally, it said 5 o'clock, and then when I'm looking at the screen, it said we were starting at 6.
Okay, I think there was some delay because of the speakers not joining at the correct time and some technical difficulties. So we apologize for that. So should we get started with this session?
Well, we're good. I'm just reviewing again. I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to? We can't see you.
They can't see me. I
No.
don't know why. I'll check. Hold on. Okay, is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Good.
Hi. It's a nice background, Dr. Mish. Thank you.
Okay, so am I starting at 6?
No, you're just telling now. Yeah.
That's a
So,
yes.
Dr. Mish, how are you?
Good. How about you?
I am good, thank you. So, I would like to give a small introduction to the audience. So, Dr. Mish Spiro is on stage. So, welcome, Dr. Mish. He is a renowned licensed psychologist, gained international recognition for his role in the Elian Gonzalez case. He is known for training his pet turtle and authored books like Florida the Turtle, Who Think He's a Dog Finds His Feelings. His recent work focuses on attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder. Dr. Spiro's passion lies in psychological evaluation and treatment, earning him numerous awards, including the 2019 Top Doctors of America Honors Edition. It was wonderful introduction, Dr. Vish Spiro. So yes, Dr. Vish, now stage is all yours. You can start your presentation. Good luck.
Good luck to you.
Okay, start now. Huh?
Your name and your credentials and all.
Okay. If I hold that up, I can read that pretty clearly. That'll look better. Okay. It says live.
You are live. They're not watching.
I'm ready.
They're watching it.
Okay. So I should start right now then?
Yes.
Okay. I think we should go like Cullen. Ready? Set. Go. Okay. There was a little confusion as to when I was starting, but we're going to go 3, 2, 1. And now, but I am going to adjust this for a second just before. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready to begin. Okay, begin. Hi. First, I'd like to thank all of you who have chosen to view this seminar. I'm going to do a combination of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It'll be a summation of a book which was ADHD Guide for Drifters in a Squirrel Moment, Testing, Diagnosis, and Treatment of ADHD. And that's what I normally look like when I'm going to court, but we've had this thing called COVID that's pretty much prevented that. And I am a musician, so I can get away with the long hair for now, but pretty soon I'll go back to normal. This is the information to contact us. It's Dr. Mitch Spiro. I'm a licensed psychologist. It's Child and Family Psychologists, 954 587 7520. We had email before everybody else, so it's long. Now I would just do CNFP, but it's Child and Family Psychologists at gmail.com. And if you're looking us up on the web, it's childandfamilypsychologist.org or floridatheturtle.com. We also have a YouTube channel, Stable Life LLC. And if you look under Man Trains Turtle to Do Dog Tricks, you'll have a good laugh. That was my first book about Florida the Turtle, who thinks he's a dog, finds his feelings. It's a book to help your child to overcome anxiety, fear, shyness, to understand and share their feelings. And the third book is in process at this time. This is, again, Florida the Turtle. And again, I'd like to thank all of you that have selected this as a seminar to attend. Before I really get started, I just wanted to remind all of us to be grateful and thankful that we're in the countries that we're in and do everything that we can to help those that are currently suffering. It's just a list of atrocities, and we're also fortunate that we're able to still continue with education and sharing of knowledge. So I guess my attitude is random acts of kindness result in a type of karma that when you do well for others, it will come back to you. So finishing up the part about gratitude, it's my first thankfulness that you've actually decided to attend the seminar. And second, that we're all safe. Okay, I like LinkedIn, and I think it's the only social media that I really use, recommend strongly. And I guess also YouTube. All right, I'm going to start with ADHD Guide for Drifters in a Squirrel Moment. But before that, this is one of our little advertisements. And I'm saying if anybody really likes what they've seen and they know anybody that would like to be a part of our group, or if you'd like for us to do any type of presentation at your organization, give us a call and we can do it by Zoom anywhere in the world. One of the things I'm extremely proud of is the First Responders Teletherapy Network at Child and Family Psychologists, and thankfulness to all of the first responders, which includes police officers, firefighters, teachers, administrators, all hospital personnel, medical doctors, nurses, and mental health professionals. We run it on a HIPAA protected platform. We deal with depression, anxiety, anger, PTSD, family problems, burnout prevention, many other issues, again, by licensed psychologists, psychiatrists, other mental health professionals on a HIPAA-compliant protected platform at Child and Family Psychologists. Anybody that would like to be a part of that in helping, I guess we can support the blue, as we say, as they protect and serve. We always start with a very brief bio. I guess I would just say that originally I was going to be a veterinarian and then switched into the psychological studies of animal behaviors. And my professors laughed at me saying, "You will not make a living in Pittsburgh doing that." and then shifted to the psychological study of people, human beings. So I have a background in biology, chemistry, molecular biology, and organic chemistry, which helps in psychology. Run the practice child and family psychologist. This was way back from college days at University of Pittsburgh, and strongly recommend that all teenagers that you work with and young adults find something that they can enjoy with passion, whether it's a sport or music or any other activity. I'm also third degree black belt in Taekwondo. And again, something I highly recommend with regard to self confidence, security, but also that it is an Olympic sport and it's a lot of fun. Did it for 11 years, twice a week. Other than that, I would just say I've mentioned guitar, but any type of water, caring for animals, kayaking, camping, love horses, horseback riding, spending time at the stables, the beach, of course, public speaking, and spending time with family and friends. Okay, ADHD. We start and we say, what is ADHD? And there's so many different views. But if we were to go to the full presentation, which is available on 5 different webinars filmed for India, we would start with ADHD is both an input and an output disorder. It's a process where we're looking at sustained attention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. So it is actually an input and an output disorder. There are memory issues, there's impulsivity, but basically there are many different theorists. I've summarized 4 within my own research. We're sharing all of that. If we go to DSM-5, and there is a new version now, the text revision, but at the time the book was written, this is what we were utilizing. We will look and say there are 3 different aspects, but the hyperactivity and the impulsivity are combined. Inattention would be failing to give close attention to details, making careless mistakes. Now, all kids do that to a certain extent, but we're looking to see, is it more extreme? And does the child have the ability to shift in or out? They have difficulty sustaining attention. I did say children, but these children grow up, but you never outgrow ADHD. You learn how to control it to a certain extent. Psychotherapy makes a huge difference. And for we see maybe 50, 60%, I would say 60%, are on some type of psychostimulant or other psychotropic medication. Psychopharmacological approaches, along with cognitive behavioral therapy, seem to result in the most progress and best prognosis. ADHD individuals, both children and adults, don't seem to listen when they're spoken directly to, which can be very frustrating for them as well as others. They don't follow through on instructions, which can be very frustrating to parents. And there is an overlap with oppositional defiant disorder and many other areas. Difficulty with organizational skills is something that is extremely prevalent at all ages, but can be learned. As I said, you don't outgrow it, but you do learn how to cope with it. And I guess there's a reluctance to engage in any task that requires sustained mental effort, of course, homework. Now, parents ask, how is it that my kid can play a video game for hours, but they can't do long division? Well, by the time they're in 4th grade, that's when we have different complex mathematical equations and whatnot. That's where the problem is really noticeable. We do see kids younger than that. Actually, it's boys are 4 times more likely to be diagnosed accurately as having ADHD than girls. And girls are socialized. If we go back to Carol Gilligan in A Different Voice from Harvard Press back in the 80s, she emphasized that girls are socialized differently and that violence or any form of domination in sports or any area is looked almost as a masculine trait. So girls often fall somewhere through the cracks and are identified later in middle school or high school, sometimes because of the inability to sustain the attention and remember and recall and then put it back out. The ADHD individual will often lose different objects that are necessary for tasks: cell phones, glasses, pencils, books. They're very distracted by extraneous stimuli and often forgetful, which can be very frustrating. That summarizes the inattentive aspects of ADHD. I'll explain that basically we're not looking to meet all of the criterion, and we're looking at different age brackets. But if you're looking somewhere 5 or more of the symptoms, that's when we can effectively diagnose, and I'll go through the way that we do diagnose. With regard to the hyperactivity and impulsivity, there's a type of fidgeting. When I'm doing telehealth, the ADHD individual is often moving side to side or rocking or some type of self-stimulation or playing with something. It can drive teachers up a wall. My research project or dissertation for my PsyD, psychology doctoral degree, was a needs analysis survey on the burnout phenomenon of elementary school teachers. And basically, the kids are often out of their seats. They're climbing. They're unable to sit and remain seated, almost like they're driven by a motor. And sometimes they talk excessively in the sense that they go on and on and on, not recognizing that others are not paying attention. There is an overlay with autism spectrum disorder, but it's not always concurrent, actually less than anxiety, depression, or learning disabilities. But the ADHD individual will often blurt out an answer before a question has been completed. They have difficulty waiting in line, and they often interrupt or take over what others are doing. Now, years ago, it was called minimal brain dysfunction. Can you imagine telling your child you have minimal brain dysfunction? One little girl said, I feel like I have a hole in my brain and the information kind of falls out. Another kid recently just said the brain is a sponge. He said, well, my sponge is broken. The kids become more and more aware, and sometimes they're bullied, teased. They have a pretty rough time, and we really enjoy helping these kids and helping them to change and make changes for the rest of their lives. At this time, there are basically the different diagnostic criterion. The first, of course, is ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity, combined presentation. That's with all three. The second is predominantly inattentive. And the third is hyperactive or impulsive. And you can be either inattentive, hyperactive, impulsive, or the full combination. The overlap, and what's often misdiagnosed, is that of a generalized anxiety disorder. See, children and adults with ADHD will worry about what's happened during the day before, or what will happen the next day. They look at what ifs. What if I do this? What if I do that? What's going to happen? So they're easily fatigued. They have difficulty concentrating. That's the key. Difficulty concentrating. See, if we look at depression, we look at PTSD, we look at anxiety, all of those diagnostic criterion show some level of concentration problems. Sometimes it's environmental. It's in a household that there are conflicts, and the child goes to school and they're distracted because they haven't learned to compartmentalize, put the problem in the box, put it on the shelf, and come back to it after school. It's an extremely important aspect for police officers, which were very similar to teachers, with the idealism and entering a field almost like a crusade rather than a job, and then feeling burned out in a sense that their expectations are not being met. They experience a level of emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and finally, a reduction of personal accomplishment. So we look to rule out anxiety during our testing process. I really feel that personally, I will not diagnose ADHD on an initial session. I look at that as something that is down the line after we've ruled out other disorders or the concurrent disorder of either the anxiety or the others. The depressive aspect is often the child or adult that's sad about things they've done or said, how they've affected other people. So they may have difficulty sleeping, low energy, low self-esteem. Here it is, poor concentration, or even feelings of hopelessness. But I would say one of the most concurrent diagnostic criterion is that of oppositional defiant disorder. I'll shift over to Alfred Adler for a moment, an amazing individual. He identified that some kids act out because they believe they're going to be blamed anyway. So their attitude is, if I'm going to get blamed, I might as well get away with it. That's the B, as I call it. I'm bad. Next is for attention. All ADHD kids are looking for attention, whether it's positive attention or negative attention. Kids will often do their homework, place it on the table, right on top of your keys, and say, I thought you were going to check my homework before you left for that school conference. And the parents going, where are my keys? Where are my keys? That's the kid that's already into revenge. I'll get you back because you're not listening to me. And of course, there's always an issue of control. The ADHD individual can definitely control others from the backseat of the car or the backseat of life. One aspect not to lose track of is the concordance of different learning disabilities, whether it be math, reading, writing, or a combination. With regard to the treatment, we feel that it's extremely important to enjoy the time with these kids. They're fascinating. They're fun. Ron John was going out of business. I surfed when I was a kid. It says, do what you love what you do. And I think in order to specialize with ADHD, that has to be true. You have to really enjoy being with them and enjoy helping them. And they do express a lot of gratitude. But in play therapy, whether it's chess, where I teach a kid and there's a board in back there. That was from, I don't know if we can see, there it is. High school woodshop. We don't think that's important, or art, or even handwriting these days in a lot of schools. But I guess the key is play therapy, such as chess, can go through adolescence. And we can do a session while we're playing chess, and I'll explain. If I go here, and you go there, and I go here, where are you going to go next, and why? We'll look at the mistakes, how they recover after a mistake, and their attitude if they're winning or losing. But chess is a metaphor for life, or court, or any other type of career. Structural family therapy is extremely important in teaching the parents or the relatives, grandparents even, how to understand what's actually going on. We try and keep all kids off of medication as long as possible. However, as I said, about 60% of the kids or adults that we see can benefit from medication management. It has to be a team approach to be effective. In other words, if there is medication, then we look to maintain constant communication with the medical doctor, the psychiatrist, the neurologist, or the ARNP, whoever is prescribing the medication, and that we sometimes will do a test and a retest to see if the medication is maximally effective. So we work on listening skills, interpersonal communication. I can go through a number of assessment techniques, but for those of you that are not in the field, it might be, I won't say a waste, but you will see the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, the second, or actually now the third edition, or the MMPI Adolescent. the Milan Clinical Multi-Axle Inventory, but we really look to Keith Connors, who was an amazing individual. I attended his seminars, and we use his checklists that are self-rating scales, parent rating scales, and teacher rating scales. And we compare. Does the child or adolescent or adult see themselves as others see them? In our practice, child and family psychologists in South Florida, we utilize projective techniques to rule out any other type of disorder or to confirm it as a concordant disorder. So essentially, we will use projective drawings, the thematic apperception test, the play therapy, but we also look at the academic aspects. And in Broward County, Florida, we have what we call a 504 accommodation plan, which allows a kid time and a half. See, the ADHD individual may not process as quickly. They might be very distracted and may not perform academically to the best of their abilities, and sometimes do require the extra time and other accommodations. Next, I guess I'd like to refer to the book directly and hope that it's something you're interested in. And again, if you are interested in ordering the books or the games, I'll explain the games in a moment. You get in touch with us. So we look at it and we say, what's really going on? Is the kid bored? Is he lazy, or is he just not paying attention? There's basically an executive functioning problem. Like, I'll pay attention, I plan, but what was I just talking about? What was I doing? The mind doesn't process as well. Second part is vigilance, whether you're focusing and maintaining that focus, or the distractibility that's very evident, as we called it for drifters. I called it in the storm, but there was a movie called Up, and in that movie, the dog said, "When I wear this collar, I can speak if I push the button. If not, squirrel." And the dog continued to point out different squirrels throughout the entire movie. And it squirrel. So we called it for drifters in a squirrel moment, because the distractibility is, it's very interesting. I really enjoyed it, but where was I? What was I doing? The part about sustaining attention or selective attention is keep paying attention, keep paying attention, keep paying attention versus what was I just doing? Again, there's a sense of loss. One of the ways that we can identify without testing is if you ask one, what comes 4 letters before the letter S? It is humorous because most of us would start at S and work our way backwards. I've always seen the ADHD individuals almost humorously going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and they start from A. And you ask them for another letter, and again, they start back from A. So much is happening that sometimes it's difficult for them to cue into the most important thing. But again, please remember that it's an input and an output disorder. The current research focuses on memory, learning disabilities,
Thank you, Dr. Vish. I think,
and all other
hello,
aspects.
Dr. Vish.
Yes.
Hi, Dr. Lynch.
Hi.
Yeah, I think thank you for your wonderful speech. Our audience really loved it. So I think you have showed your contact info before you start the talk, and now even I hope everybody took a screen grab for that. Please reach out to Dr. Mesh. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you so much, Polly, for joining this event.
It's an
Thank
honor
you for the
for us to host you.
opportunity
Thank you so much.
to present, and be safe, be happy, and be kind. Take
Sorry,
care.
thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a great day.
Please join our next speaker, Polly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Bye. How does it sound?
Let's do this.